Before this webinar, we were asked by quite a few companies to explain and to look into the offshore versus onshoring process. And we would estimate that probably at least 50% of companies here in Sydney have some form of offshoring in their accounting or finance teams. How successful is it? Well, we hear some very mixed results. For some companies, it's a great success. For others, though, it is a bit more challenging depending on how they're setting it up. The one thing which is worth bearing in mind is that certainly offshore contractors are now considered permanent employees. And there's a recent court case which has had a big effect on this. So you do need to bear this in mind if you're looking to set up an offshore operation. The other part is that we see probably now more companies looking to automate processes than send them offshore because they want to keep the knowledge in-house. The principal reason offshoring is generally cost savings. And if you are going to do it, you've just got to think of the long term. You will experience a whole range of new issues if you offshore. Recently I was talking to someone who had an offshore operation in a rather unstable country. And so they were getting asked most every fortnight for a pay rise. Now, that's quite interesting, right? The one thing which I would say is if you're going to do it, you need to do it for a long-term basis because we see quite a few companies of all sizes, offshore, then onshore, then offshore, then onshore. You lose your IP. And again, I don't think it's going to be overly successful for your organization. The one consequence, which, it is a bit of an elephant in the room, but it is worthwhile discussing, is what are the consequences to graduates? With many junior transaction roles, which were often a pathway for many finance professionals to come through, this has meant that the consequence is there's been a lot less opportunities for graduates. And what we'll start to see is a lot less opportunities. Well, we'll struggle to find those people in 2 to 3 years' time as the graduate numbers really drop. So it's a challenge which, as an industry, we need to tackle. And maybe it's a question that the education side of accounting needs to change. We need to understand and explore what different pathways can we use to get people into the profession, because otherwise in 20, 30 years' time, there'll be a lot less CFOs to be choosing from right now. So let's look at working arrangements. And, if we go back to March 2020, when COVID first started, working arrangements obviously were forced to change back then. And obviously for a lot of people, we've never looked back. A lot of people have found newfound freedom and are really enjoying their newfound working arrangements. If you wish to find out any further information, please go to our website or get in touch with one of our consultants after you've watched this. We'd love to help you out and we look forward to hearing from you.